Greetings, viewers. Welcome back to the Jack JCB JoJo Stand Fight Review. It's not a tier list, by the way.
It's not a tier list, it's a rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, some people think they're the same thing,
Yeah,
so
they're
let's go with
wrong.
that.
We've changed our profile pics since last time.
Time for some variety, I say.
Nathan is now Fuse.
Bye, mate. I apologise to every Australian.
Yeah, and today we're rating part 4. Fights. The fights in part 4. The stand fights.
I'm so glad these are so much better than part 3.
So if you haven't watched the last video, we went through what qualifies as a stand fight and our rating system. I don't really want to go over it again. So
Yeah,
go
go
back
watch
over
that
there.
instead.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll just jump right into it, I guess.
Oh, yes. I recently read through part 4 again as well,
Oh yeah,
so I should be able to more vividly remember what's going on.
yeah. So we've both watched the anime, and then you've read some of the manga.
Oh, yes. Most
Yeah,
of it, in fact.
and I've watched the live action movie.
Oh, to be fair, that's more of a qualification than me, I think.
Which the live action movie is only the first 2 fights anyway. So
I'm sure it's a very comprehensive look for the first 2 fights, though.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So we're starting off with Aqua Necklace.
Oh boy. Wait, that is the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the first
Like,
fight.
does Josuke v Jotaro not count?
No, we went through this last time, Nathan. The fight that's introduced
Okay.
stands as a concept don't count.
Fine. Even I
Alright.
can't remember what happened. Okay.
Yeah, the first proper fight is Aqua Necklace. I think this is one of the best introductory fights that isn't an introductory to stands, but you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this one's really good.
Yeah,
I would say that the villain, what's his name, Angelo, is on
Angelo.
the verge of being almost comically evil, really, with
Yeah, oh my god,
the terrible crimes that he has committed.
pretty funny.
But I'd say it doesn't really matter in the long run.
No.
You know, I say most of the villains are like that.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Mustache twirling, cackling sort of
That's
fellas.
what makes them good. I think it's cool that it has a lot of build up to it. Like you do see
Oh
like
yes.
Angelo breaking out of prison, getting his stand, and then killing this guy's dog or something. I can't remember. Does he kill a dog? Whatever. And then he starts,
Kills a guy and his dog, I think.
yeah, and then he tries to rob a supermarket. No, not
Oh
really.
yes.
I don't think he
But
started rob it.
I think he was disguised
Yeah, it was
as another
disguised as
guy.
well. Yeah, and it also sets up Josuke because his granddad dies. Oh
No.
no.
He was such a nice guy.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual fight, I think I really like Crazy Diamond as a stand, and I
Oh
also
yes.
think Aqua Necklace is a really interesting stand. And Crazy Diamond just is probably the best stand in terms of creatively using the power. I think
Oh yes.
apart from maybe Stone Free.
Debatable,
Yeah,
I'd
well, come
say.
on, Stone Free uses the powers in very interesting ways.
Oh yeah. But let's say equally so for now.
Okay, equally so. Fine. So I like how obviously in the first encounter, Josuke literally like punches through.
His own mum,
Yeah,
rest in
yeah.
peace.
But does it also when the guy's possessing one of the civilians, doesn't he punch through one of them as well?
Oh yes, he does actually. Yeah, he
Yeah,
punches through him, and the
he just likes punching through people.
absolutely, yeah. He just likes showing off. He says, "Oh wait, I've killed this guy. Oh no, I haven't." You thought,
Yeah,
psych.
and it's it goes back and forth. Like obviously that thing, he initially gets rid of Angelo during the supermarket. I don't even know what it's flipping convenience store.
Like a
But
grocery store.
yeah, and then obviously Angela comes back, and then the fight in the house after it's raining. Like obviously that's really interesting because he can't leave the house. And the way that he's defeated is by putting a rubber glove in his mouth, which I think is really funny.
Also leads to Yo Angelo, one of
Oh
my
yeah,
personal favourites.
yo, Angela. God, when I was watching the movie, like he turned Angelo into. I think I've said this before to you. He turned Angelo into a rock, and just immediately said it, and then they said it basically right after I said it.
Man, well, it's one of the best parts of the entire series, I'd say.
Yeah, it is. So, I can't
Bunny Rock.
decide what to give this, but I think it's probably a 9 out of 10.
Hmm. I'm thinking maybe an 8 because I
Yeah,
like the dynamic between the stands, and it's quite scary thinking that any glass of water can kill you.
yeah. And I
But at
was
the same
thinking,
time, he doesn't reach the heights of other fights in the part, I would say.
Yeah, no, that honestly, that's fair. I think it might be an 8. I don't know. I'm just gonna say 8.5. I don't know if I think.
Well, I mean, it sets a good precedent for the rest
Oh,
of the part. So for that, I say it deserves a high mark.
yeah. So let's just say out of 10.
It'll be fine.
Or I give it an 8. You give it a 9. No, no. I give it a 9. You give it an 8, and then it equalizes to an 8.5. There we go. Easy.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Um.
Is that how averages work?
Yeah.
I guess so. I can't complain. I don't even know what an average is anymore.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That is how averages work. I don't know why I had to think about that. No, that's exactly how they work, Nathan.
Oops.
Nathan,
Well,
what's
I've
8
learned my
plus
lesson.
9? What's 8 plus 9, Nathan?
17.
What's that divided by 2?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Man, it's been what 3 years since I've done maths.
All right.
I have not done any addition or subtraction during that time.
All right. Fine.
Well, maybe a bit in my head.
But mainly for D&D though, right?
Well, I get a calculator to do that.
No, you. All right. God. Right. For so long in the fucking first fight. Anyway, company. Oh, by the way, if you couldn't realise, I'm slightly ill. I've got a bit of a headache and a bottom.
Oh man, prayers, please get well soon.
Yeah, slightly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Bad Company. The translation of this name is really funny. It's Worst Company.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was one of the criticised ones, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's such a good fucking name, Worst Company. Anyway, yeah. So obviously at first it's Josuke versus the Hand, but that's not really a proper fight. I'm sort of including it in this part.
Yeah.
Which that's cool. Obviously Okuyasu, great character. His introduction's great.
I'll say one thing though, that the hand fight is way longer in the anime, I think.
Is it?
In the manga, it's over in like 2 pages.
Oh,
But
okay. Oh
they
my
give
god.
Yasu more of a fighting chance in the anime.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there was any.
Maybe they felt
Uh,
sorry for him.
yeah. Because I quite like that in the anime. Cause sorry. Yeah, in the anime. That's what I'm on about. Because it's pretty cool. All the stuff he does, like bringing the plant pot forward or whatever. That's cool. I like
Absolutely, yeah.
the hands. It'd be nice if it was used a bit better.
He's
But
epic.
it's Okuyasu who has it, so it's fair enough.
That was a good enough nerf, I think.
Yeah. And then the actual Bad Company fight, it's really interesting because it's like all this mystery, and it's like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's stand power got? And it just turns out it's a bunch of toys.
Quite scary though. Bunch of soldiers.
Yeah,
Even if they're
yeah,
only an inch tall, they're running at you with choppers and tanks.
definitely. Obviously this has suspense, and the way that Josuke wins the fight is obviously by using Crazy Down in a really interesting way again, which is just healing the missile
Oh
so
yeah.
it hits himself. What's the guy?
That sounds like something from Radio of Healer. I healed the missile. Now it hits you instead.
All right.
Loser.
I
Oh
don't
well,
know
it'll be fine.
about Radio of Healer, Nathan. So.
Good. Well, I've only watched videos
That's a
about
little
it.
bit of a lie, because I've watched videos on it as well, yeah.
Well, who hasn't at this point?
Scambolis is great.
Oh.
What? Scambolis video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and obviously it then leads into the Red Hot Chili Pepper thing because he dies. What's his
Oh
name? I
man,
don't remember the fucking, what? The other,
is he called
Okas's brother.
H.O.?
Is he?
Maybe. Oh yeah, it says here. But yeah, he
Yeah.
felt it was very sad. You initially think that these brothers as delinquents. You probably wouldn't like them very much.
Yeah.
But then, it turns out that they just want to help their dad. It was a tragic backstory. So sad, man.
Yeah,
What could have
so
happened?
I would say that this fight is an 8 for me, an 8 out of 10.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I say it's
that's
very
pretty fair.
nice.
Very nice, yes.
It's got the stakes. It's got Koichi laying an egg. What more could you want?
That's really weird, yeah. Next fight, The Lock. This fight is one of the first, like, not really fight, if that makes sense. It's not really a fight, but
Oh yeah.
it's more of a psychological thing. I think that's really cool.
It's a negotiation.
Yeah, I really like The Lock as a concept, obviously the guilt side of it. And then it also acts as a development for Koichi, so his hand actually does something.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. And the villain, I can't remember his name, is just hateable because he's just trying to swindle people out of their money. So, yeah, good fight.
A classic. But yeah, I really like Koichi's stand throughout this part. I'd say the way that it
Yeah.
grows along with him.
Yeah,
I'd say that's a really good use of. I guess you think you know all about the stands, and then this one comes along and changes it.
and then there's not an act stand again until part 7.
Oops, man. Maybe Pokemon was getting on his tail a bit.
Yeah, maybe. But I do really like Echoes. All the abilities are really cool, but I still think Act 1 and Act two's powers are cooler than Act three's. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because I mean, with Act 3, it's another punching one,
yeah,
whereas with the other ones, they have to be more imaginative. But anyway,
yeah.
the lot.
Yeah. So I would say I can't remember how they win the fight, but it's definitely not a dumb way that they win. It's probably
He
well thought
powers
out.
up.
It don't matter. Yeah, well, it makes sense that he powers up. So I'm gonna give this an 8 as well. I've basically given everything
Hmm.
8 so far, but honestly, part 4 has a really strong start in my opinion.
I would say, yeah, I give this one maybe a 7.5, maybe.
Now let's give it a
Am I
7.
allowed halves?
No, no
Oh,
halves
fine.
unless it's the
Seven,
average.
7.
Even though I was gonna give it a
Okay.
half. Like it averages out to a
Uh,
7.5.
well, that's all right then. But yeah, I
Yeah,
kept thinking that this fight was going to be over, and then yeah, I don't know. There are a couple of times it just carries on going again,
yeah,
where the villain will say, "Oh no, actually, your mum hates you now,"
yeah. No, that's fair actually.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So I say it's good in the way that it's not just another punching one. Even though, well, actually, to be fair, there aren't many punching ones.
Surface is next,
Oh
which
boy, this one
start
freaks me out.
yeah, it starts off like really dark because you just see like the guy stabbing his own eye or whatever with a pen. But the actual fight is just kind of funny because it's just like
Yeah, yeah.
a copy of Josuke just walking around doing stuff.
Yeah, and what's it? The villain wants Josuke to embarrass himself, but he just keeps building up his reputation again.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is pretty. It's decent. It's kind of funny, but it doesn't really have a lot to it. Like the way they win is with a pen, right? As well. I can't really remember how they win.
I'm not too sure myself, honestly.
There's something about like the reflection, and he's gonna stab his eye with a pen, but then maybe someone comes around the corner. I think no. I think all the people that the surface Josuke is annoyed throughout the episode come back and like attack him.
Woohoo!
I think that's what happens. I can't really remember. But
Yeah, me
yeah,
neither.
well, it's kind of forgettable, but it's still interesting, so I'd give it a 6.
Oh yeah, I think I would agree with that honestly,
Yeah,
because there's nothing too special about it, and like you say, we can't even remember how it ended,
yeah,
so it
yeah,
wasn't the most memorable one either.
yeah. Well, it has obviously been a while since I've watched it, but I think
Yeah.
this is probably the most forgettable fight, except for maybe
Mm.
a couple of ones later on, but definitely the first half is probably the most forgettable fight.
It's a unique idea though,
Yeah, definitely.
so I say I like it with that.
And next is Love Deluxe. Yeah, again, this is another Koichi development fight, which is great. I love Koichi as a character, and
Oh yeah,
his development's great. Obviously introduces Yukiko, who some people hate and some people love. I'm sort of indifferent on her, but it's definitely an interesting dynamic that they
yeah,
have.
sort of in the middle, really.
Yeah, I think this is the first yandere as well that ever existed. I think.
You sure?
I think so. Yeah,
Blimey,
I might be making that up.
pioneered
I'll
a
do.
sick, twisted genre.
I'll fact check that whilst I'm editing, but I'm pretty sure
Oh
it
yeah,
is.
I don't see why not. I mean, how long ago was this?
Uh,
1990s, 1980s.
yeah, I think it was like 80s, early 90s probably.
Yeah, yeah, early 90s. I think he.
Oh yeah, because it's part. Yeah, yeah, early 90s then.
I mean, yeah, this one's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I like how obviously Act Two. Well, I know it's just a power up, but Act Two is really cool. I like how it differentiates that it isn't Act One just the sound of it, but Act Two, it's like onomatopoeia.
Yeah, yeah, he can place sounds on objects. I think yes.
Yeah,
So if he can place sort of like a whoosh sound effect on the door, so you're pushed away if you touch it, that kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Whereas Act One just like does the sound over and over again, but doesn't produce an effect.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's cool, and that's
True
used really
evolution.
well. Obviously, with the whoosh out the door, but also the boing on the rock, which then makes a not as memeable Mario landmark as Angelo, but it's still
But
a
what is?
yeah. I feel like we haven't mentioned Mario, but like we talk about the fight, it's not the part, but Mario
Yeah,
is the
there's
best.
not much focus on the town really in
Yeah,
this part. I don't know.
like it is an essential part of the plot and the
Yeah,
part, and it's what makes part four, but it's not really essential to the fights anyway.
it's pretty much a backdrop. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like loved it. I like this fight. It's a little bit awkward to rewatch. You're just like, oh, for God's sake, you can stop being a stop
Not
being
being weird.
awful. Yeah, but I still like it. I don't want to give something else an 8, but
I think I give it a 7.
a 7. All right.
As I say, it's funny seeing Koichi in this situation
Yeah.
and the
Honestly,
sort of stuff that happens to him.
maybe I would give it a 7 then. Okay, let's say this is a 7. It's good.
Because I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, the stakes aren't that high in the end, are they?
Yeah.
It's just sort of, oh no, crazy woman.
But I do like the ending. Um,
She will kill him though.
Next we have Pearl Jam.
Yes.
This is a really interesting fight. I really like how you go into it. Like even the first shot of the episode is like he's like chopping something up in the kitchen. It looks all sinister, and you go into the episode thinking he's gonna be all sinister. Like this chef is all really sinister, and then the twist is that he's not. He's just a nice guy, and it's the first fight, quote unquote, that isn't actually against a bad
An
guy,
enemy.
an enemy.
Yeah,
It's just a cool encounter. And I know a lot of people don't like part 4 because of they like think, oh, it's just random stuff happening, but that's what I love about it so much.
absolutely. Yeah. It's a great change of pace.
Yeah. And obviously the actual stuff that happens in Pearl Jam in this fight is just really funny and interesting. Everything that happens to Okuyasu, he's just like flipping scratching his shoulder off and his eyes are watering out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't really explain the best of my ability, but I just love this one so much
Yeah, it's great.
because I don't know. I think it's just the fact that they go in and they're constantly Josuke's constantly looking for a fight because he's so
Yeah.
used to fighting people already. Everyone he
And so's
meets
the audience.
being
Like
evil.
Josuke is basically us in that situation.
Absolutely. The way it's sort of portrayed as this villainous force. Plus, it's really satisfying to reread. I think,
Mhm.
or seeing all this nice food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wish I was a better cook so I could make some of that Italian food,
Oh,
man. It's my favorite.
I can make that.
Oh, well, I can make a chicken linguine thingy
Oh,
and
that's good.
spaghetti carbonara.
Well, that's basically good enough.
Oh yeah, good enough for me. They're
Yeah.
both delicious. They'll get me through.
So what would you give this then, Nathan?
A 9,
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 9 as well. I'm
so
thinking
good.
maybe an 8, but I think let's say a 9.
The way it subverts my expectations, unlike Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Very good.
Subverts them in a good way that makes sense.
Oh yes, yes, yes. That's
Um,
more like it.
yeah, because all the subversions in flipping Last Jedi and stuff is just like stupid stuff. Anyway,
They tried.
yeah. Next is Red Hot Chili Pepper. So
Yes, nice,
the
nice.
what people may think is the main villain is actually not.
Oh
It's just
man,
some flipping guy. Why is he
I like that there was
important?
a big build up to this one though.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got a build up, but actually, what is the guy's plot? Like, what is he? I can't remember.
Can't remember. But yeah, most villains aren't the they're introduced maybe at the end of the last fight and then they're defeated immediately
Yeah,
afterwards. But with this one, at least, he's sort of running around. They're trying to track him down,
yeah,
and there are sort of twists and turns along the way. So that makes it more interesting.
yeah, definitely. The first part is pretty cool because it's Okuyasu versus him, and that's interesting. Obviously, the hand is cool, even though he doesn't use it the best. It's still fun to
He almost
watch.
won.
He almost did, yeah. And then we go and meet Joseph, old Joseph,
Well,
which
hey,
is it's cool to see him back, but it's also kind of sad to see him like that.
in the States, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's tough.
Um, and then the
It's still funny
fight,
though.
yeah, it is still pretty funny. And the fight on the port, Josuke versus I can't remember his name.
Akira, I think he's
Is it?
called. Remember that? It was,
Oh, okay. Definitely looks like an Akira
yeah,
or Akira,
crazy.
however you want to pronounce that name.
He's a rock star.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pronounce
Um,
it either way. It depends.
I think yeah, it depends on the character. Obviously, the movie's called Akira, but I would say some characters are called Akira. I don't know, whatever.
Hmm.
Don't matter.
It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
I like the fight on the dock. You know how he wins with the is it with oil like in the drains?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Um.
nice. More crazy diamond, crazy stuff going on.
And how do they win? Okuyasu just fucking attacks one of them on the boat.
Yeah,
Just
that's
chooses
been my
one
favorite
guy.
part.
That is
I was
pretty
gonna
funny.
punch you both because I'm stupid.
Yeah, yeah. That's a recurring thing that happens in JoJo's. You just attack everyone. Um.
I always thought it was weird how Okuyasu would always say, "I'm the stupid one," But I
Yeah,
mean, I guess it takes a genius to know his limits. He's really the smartest
he is
guy.
definitely secretly the smartest guy. Right, what would you give Red Hot Chili Pepper? I put down a 9 on this sheet, but honestly, maybe it's just
Hmm.
because of the mood I'm in, but I think an 8. I would give it.
I'd say no, it's very good, yes. I like the
Yeah,
shifting perspectives and the electricity is very cool.
yeah,
So, like, how
definitely.
are you going to defeat something you can't really touch? But it's
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah, and then after this fight, you're kind of like, well, what's going to happen now? And we'll see what happens now. But there's a couple episodes where you're like, where you don't know. Next is the Invisible Baby here. I don't know what the actual name of the stand is.
I think if I look, it's Actung Baby. I think that's how you say it.
Ah, okay.
They never say that though, so
Yeah, they
you
don't.
can't really find that out yourself.
This is probably the only fight old Joseph is in. Like they kind of bring him in. He's kind of like not really. He doesn't really exist in this part. I don't know why they hyped it up so
Uh,
much because he was barely in it. But
he's a gag character at that heart,
yeah,
pretty much.
this fight's interesting because obviously Josuke doesn't believe that this baby has to stand for a bit, and then it goes invisible. And the first half is just like weird shenanigans with him spending all of Josuke's money on flipping baby stuff, which I'm kind of like on honestly. But then the second half is a lot more tense where the baby goes invisible.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the evolution between the relationship of Josuke and Jojo with this one. You know, at the beginning, Josuke doesn't even believe Joseph when he says there's an invisible baby because he just
Yeah,
thinks, yeah, senile old man. By the end, I think he formed a sort of respect for him, which I think is
yeah,
very
yeah.
nice.
Obviously, the cutting the blood in the water works, but honestly, I don't know why. You know, when the baby's in the water,
Hardcore.
why doesn't it make like a dent in the water that's invisible?
Hmm. I think it's hard to see. Maybe it did, but water's transparent to begin with anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. So obviously the blood helps. That's cool. So again, I'll change my score for what I've written down. I think this is a 6.
I say, yeah, it's all right. I'd
Yes.
agree with that for the time being.
Yeah, I think when I'm rewatching or rereading this is probably the one that I'm just kind of like even though I remember it more than Surface, it's kind of the one where I'm just like, I don't really look
Yeah,
forward to rewatching.
it's just another more fun one, really.
Yeah,
And you can't hurt to have more of those, I guess.
definitely. Well, this part has quite a lot of fun ones, but the more fun, the better. There's quite a lot
Woohoo! That's
of
my
dark
philosophy.
fights. Yeah. Next, Heaven's Door.
Yes, Rohan is the best.
He is the best. Probably my favorite character from Part 4.
Woohoo!
Definitely. Um, yeah, this is obviously introduced Rohan, which is great. I love that. Heaven's Door is an amazing ability, one of the most interesting and most powerful
Plus
uh,
5 points.
stand powers. Yeah, definitely. Um, it's sort of like creepy and like the way that Koichi just goes in there and then he turns into a flipping book and then he's trying to leave, but he has to come. But as soon as he
Oh
leaves, he
yeah, yeah.
forgets. It's
The
sort
way
of
this
got
manipulated.
yeah, it's got like creepy sort of like horror undertones. And then when Josuke and I was gonna say flipping Josuke and Whole Horse.
Oh no, too much crazy diamond.
Still need to read that. But yeah, when Josuke and Okuyasu appear, I'm like, okay. I think it's kind of a bit dumb that like when his hair get insulted that he sort of like doesn't see the paper. Like
Yeah,
I guess it makes
he's blind
sense.
with
He's
rage.
blind with rage. Like it makes
I think it's pretty
sense,
funny though.
but I wouldn't really say it's a satisfying conclusion. Like it's funny, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
And then obviously you have Josuke backstory, which everyone gets confused about because
Oh yeah, yeah.
they think it's time traveling Josuke, not just this other guy with a flipping haircut.
Honestly, I swear some people are pretty stubborn and stupid, which is a dangerous combination
Yeah,
when they won't back down from their weird beliefs.
definitely.
I think this one's pretty plain to see.
Yeah. So I think that all the stuff with Koichi I really like, but then the final bit I'm just sort of like it's funny, but it's
Mm.
fine. So I'd give this an 8.
A bit of a cop out, yeah.
Yeah.
But 8 is very good, yes. Because
Yeah, because I
Rohan is in
think
it.
for the most part this fight's very good.
Oh yeah, yeah. And him exposing Surface fella for
Oh
his
yeah.
horrid habits. Yes, yes. Nice alliteration there by me.
Mhm.
Man, I should be a writer.
Maybe you should.
Plus, I guess it's quite interesting that he sort of discusses the process of creating manga,
Oh
right?
yeah,
In a
that's
way,
interesting.
it's not very in depth, but I'd say
Yeah.
it's a nice little insight. even if it is by a sociopath.
Uh-huh. Next, it's the rats. We're
They're
the
They're
rats. God damn it.
brilliant. Great minds
Um,
think alike. Anyway,
yeah, this fight. I think everyone is initially like kind of on this fight, honestly, and same with me because I wrote down this score. But honestly, I think I think it's decent. I think it's good.
oh yeah,
Uh,
I say it's very nice. Yeah,
yeah, because it obviously has like the mystery and the creepy nature. Is like, what do these rats have stands? That you think there's only one rat at first, and you're like, what stand does this rat have? And it's just this flipping most overpowered thing ever, which flipping melts people. And they kill the one rat, and then what? There's another rat?
the rat that almost beat the guy who can stop time.
Yeah, I know lots of people are like, how come Jotaro got nerfed? And it's like, yeah, well, some stands just counter other stands, okay?
Yeah, the
He
rat
hasn't
was just
got he
smart.
hasn't got nerfed. He didn't get nerfed in part six either. He's just older and hasn't used Star Platinum, but also he flipping got cornered. That's for another day, but still, people are like,
Birth,
oh,
sneak
Jotaro,
peek.
Jotaro gets nerfed. No, and
He's as
yeah,
sharp as he's always been.
I like how the Josuke trying to figure out how to flick these balls, and he's learning the whole time, and then at the end he's just, I think that's just a cool idea to like flick these balls, even though it's not really
Oh yeah.
using Crazy Diamond. Wait, maybe he does use Crazy Diamond's power, the healing power.
Well,
I
I
can't
mean, I
remember.
guess power. If you're referring to strength,
Yeah, but I don't think at any point
that
he like
applies.
heals it. But oh well, I think
Yeah,
it's
it'll be
still
fine.
cool. So I would give this a 7. I think this is good. It's sort
I would
of
agree with that one. Yeah,
it's sort of overhated.
I like the tension towards the end. Plus, it's kind of absurd how a rat is the enemy
Yeah,
and a threatening enemy at that. But hey, never underestimate your opponent. We
definitely.
did have a baby in part three, so a rat isn't too much of a stretch.
Uh-huh. Yeah, isn't this like one of the only animal stand users?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a dog, a bird.
Wait, oh yeah, they do
Uh,
as a dog. Like orangutan.
oh
There's
yeah,
quite a few in
forgot
part
about the
three.
orangutan.
Yeah. And then there's a lesson there as the parts go on. There's a tortoise.
Woohoo! He's
Uh,
my favorite.
definitely. Um, but yeah, 7 for rats is cool. Next fight. I just call this the Ghost Alley because there isn't a stand, and as we said in the last
Yeah.
video, these fights don't necessarily have to be against a stand. Just a stand has to be used in a fight, so Ghost Alley counts. And this
Crazy.
is the introduction of the main plot, I would say,
Ooh,
and I
that's a
really
good
like
point. Yeah,
it.
definitely.
Obviously, Rohan and Koichi is a really good duo. Raimi, great character, really cool backstory. A really creepy alley, and the way try and get out of it is tense.
Oh yeah, that was creepy. That was.
Yeah,
No thanks.
this is one of the best episodes of Part 4, I think.
Oh, I think yeah, especially since there's no fight.
Yeah,
It's sort of you can focus more on the story that's being told, I suppose.
yeah. So I know like all the extra stuff, like Raimi backstory, doesn't really count as part of the fight, but no, I don't care. I don't care what people say.
It'll be fine.
This is a 9.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
perhaps. Yeah, I'd say somewhere between an 8 and a 9
nah, this is
because yeah,
definitive
very,
9.
very nice.
If I'm comparing it to all the other stuff we've given an 8, it's just better.
There is emotion for sure.
Yeah. Uh,
Sadness.
does Kiro appear at the end of this episode?
I think he uh, appears soon
No,
afterwards,
no,
but
no.
I'm
He
not too
appears.
sure if it's so soon.
No, I don't think he does yet. I think it's at the end of Harvest. No, it's
Maybe.
not.
I couldn't
Maybe it's
say.
not. I can't remember.
I cannot remember.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. It's still good.
Nah, that'll be fine. Yeah.
Anyway, talk about Harvest. That's the next fight.
Whoa.
Go.
Nice transition there, I say.
Definitely. Um, this fight should not have been 2 episodes. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
It's
it shouldn't have been that long, really.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's cool. But I just don't like whatever his name is. I just don't like him. He's just annoying.
Shigechi.
Shigechi. He's just annoying.
What? Isn't he mentally ill? You can't say
I'm
that.
sorry, but I don't like him.
Well, I'll say he exposes a problem that I have with part four, in that
Oh,
a lot of
okay.
the characters just introduce themselves by spouting exposition or well, information about themselves to the characters.
Uh-huh.
They say he's like, man, my name's Shigechi. This is my mum. I have this stand. I go to the school and I'm this age, and you shouldn't be
Uh-huh.
telling strangers this.
Nathan, I thought that's what Kira did.
Well, yeah, exactly. Too
That's
many characters do
funny.
it.
That's
It's funny with Kira, but with Shigechi, it's just yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. All right, all right. I think honestly, yeah, Harvest is cool, but Sugechi isn't. It just yeah. And obviously, this goes on for too long. Like, if it was just like
Mm.
the collecting money and then the final fight, that would be interesting. But just like the going on about flipping like the bank and the tickets, and then the go to the bank, and then Shigechi wants to steal their money, and then
Say
ah,
it drags on a bit, but it is funny.
yeah,
Some of the complexes,
it
it
is
feels a
still
bit forced,
funny.
though.
Yeah, it's funny and it's good, and I feel like I'm complaining too much for the score I'm going to give it, but like it does feel like it should have been one episode that could have been condensed a bit. But I still think the final
Mm.
fight's really cool. I really like the moment where they seem like falling off the building, but they rise back up on the pipes. That's really cool. It's a really cool moment, and they're both drunk at the end or something, right?
Oh yeah, I think at this one, I think it's from this fact that I learned that alcohol, when injected directly into your veins, is more potent than just drinking
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
which I think is true, but I
yeah. I think
haven't
it
bothered to research it.
is.
I'm just going to
Fact
believe it.
check. I'll fact check that as well.
Brilliant.
But
Need
yeah,
a backup on
this
this.
definitely. I know I feel like I complain too much about it, but it just it felt like it dragged a bit. So I'm actually gonna change the score. I would give this probably like a 6,
I'd give it maybe
maybe.
a 7.
Yeah,
Because
honestly,
it does go on for a bit long. I mean,
yeah,
the characters behave realistically, I guess, in that sort of circumstance. You know, if you won so much money,
yeah.
you
I
kind of
think
want it for yourself in the end.
I just have a. It's been so long. I just have a negative opinion on it. But honestly, like I just feel I'm exaggerating the bad over the good. I think this is probably a 7, but I'm just gonna say a 6 to be
That'll be fine.
devil's advocate, and then we can average it out to 6.5.
Say what you want.
Yeah, I
I
would
won't
get.
hate you for it.
Yeah, I don't matter. Cool. Next, Cinderella.
Hmm.
Sounds weird, but I quite like this fight. It's not a fight. It's another
I'll say
non-fight.
it's alright, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think I rated it too highly? Honestly, I think I did as well. Actually, I might change my score.
Hmm. Perhaps a little bit too much, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because obviously I do like the redemption of Yukiko. I do like their
Yeah.
relationship. I do like a good romance story. You know, and this is the only romance
Ay, ay,
story
ay,
that's
ay.
in JoJo's. Okay, except for part 8, I guess.
Good point, I guess. It's something that's given focus anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, for a while.
Uh-huh. And yeah, I think the actual like final bit where she's trying to pick the face is probably the weakest bit. It's just fun and it's just a fun ride. And then the end is just like, oh, just pick a face. And it's kind of that's probably the weakest element, I would say. Hey, editing Jack here. I don't know what the hell I was on about. Here, the end is really good. Like it's great. Her picking a face and then Koichi showing his resolve to be like, I'll make me blind if it's the wrong one, so I can't see her if it's not perfect. Like it shows how great their relationship is. Like I don't know what I was on about in this. The ending's probably the best bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Yukiko is still great for most of this fight. Well, not,
Yeah,
or not. Well, I guess fight in quotes for me,
yeah,
really. I just don't like her personality. I guess I know that's what she's supposed to be,
yeah.
but at the same time, I still find it quite irritating.
Oh, okay. I think she's fine in this. Like I don't like
Oh yeah, I
her or
mean,
hate her. So
towards the end, when when everything's reconciled and they both like each other again,
yeah,
I say that's good.
yeah,
That makes it worth it, I suppose.
yeah. And obviously this is probably the best setup in anything ever. I don't care about Attack on Titan. This is the best foot like setup and payoff in anything.
Darn it, you
Sorry, but
can't just do that.
it kind of is though, right?
In what way? Mm.
Because it's set up in it makes sense, and then when we actually get to it, it's a really good payoff. I don't know what you're on about.
Ah, fine.
No,
I
obviously
guess
first,
well, it does well for introducing Cinderella for like
yeah.
one more crucial bit, and then
I know I'm kind of
well,
exaggerating because obviously it's not good as some of the Attack on Titan flipping twists, but
I don't know, Attack on Titan's overrated. Get that out
all
of
right,
here.
all right. But I think this is definitely some of the best setup in JoJo's at least, which is also why I like
Hmm.
it. So I'd give this a 7 overall.
I'd say
It's
so.
good.
Yeah,
It's good.
shows everything connects together. I'd say.
Yeah. And next, this isn't really well, it kind of is a stand fight for the end of it, but let's just say the whole thing is it's Yoshikage Kira wants a quiet life. The name of this arc.
Oh boy, this one made me sad.
Yeah, it actually makes you feel bad for Shigechi, even though I just said I didn't like him. I still feel bad for him. It's just like it's cool. It's really interesting to see all this from the villain's perspective for once, and to
Oh
see
yeah,
him
yeah.
trying to hide and trying to get his hand back. Like that's a really cool setup that he's got a hand in a bag, and you're like, what are they gonna find it? Are they gonna find this bag? Are they gonna find Yoshikage Kira in this flipping exercise machine?
Edge of your seat
Edge
stuff.
of your it is edge of your seat stuff.
Especially seeing as I'm always it's always really fun when the protagonist and antagonist they come together, but they don't know that
Yeah, yeah, they don't
they're
know
meant
that.
to be enemies yet,
Yeah,
so they just
that's
sort of
true. They walk past each
hang
other.
around.
That did happen where the Yoshikage Kira did. I don't know when that. I think that maybe at the end of Harvest where he drives
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they
past.
cross paths a lot,
Yeah,
but they just don't
obviously,
suspect it. He's just a normal guy, He's
yeah, he
perfectly
just wants a
fine.
quiet life. And obviously, the end of this fight, where with the actual fight, is just that's great. It's amazing. So sad for Shigechi, but he needed to die
He didn't
for the
deserve it.
plot. For the plot, I'm sorry.
Kill them. Actually, wait, yeah, never mind. Probably was Koichi. I mean, no.
What?
Sorry, slip of the tongue.
What did
I,
Koichi do?
no, I say Koichi should have died instead.
Oh, okay. No,
Oops.
definitely not.
Sorry, that was my truth, my true side leaking out. Let's say, yeah,
Anyway,
Shigechi died.
Shigechi
Whoops.
died. Oh no. Is there anything else? Obviously, the monologue's funny, and it's all
Some people have memorized it off by heart at this point.
yeah, that's just wild. And Kira's just really creepy throughout the whole thing, especially at the start. He's flipping like putting the hand on the buns, and it's like, oh god.
Ugh, yuck. I mean,
Yeah,
it does do a good job of showing that he's sort of normal, but he's got this twisted side.
yeah,
It's sort of uncanny in a way.
yeah. And obviously, Kira is best antagonist, so it's we're kind of biased. I don't know if he's your favorite
Ooh,
antagonist. Kind of
he's up
spoiler for
there,
a second,
sure, yeah.
but do you think a Funny Valentine's better than Kira?
I don't know. I feel
Everyone,
like I can just
everyone
get behind Kira's goals, really.
Yeah, everyone seems to love Funny Valentine as a villain, but I didn't really see it. Like, he was obviously
I do
really
say he's
good,
pretty
but
good
yeah, I would say he's pretty good, but I don't understand why everyone loves him so much.
because they can be like him. He starts out
Yeah.
fat and then becomes this super
He becomes a
super
Chad.
buff guy. Yeah, yeah. He goes from virgin to Chad in like 2 chapters.
Anyway, going back to the topic. Yeah, rating for this fight, quote unquote, is a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. Yeah,
Don't see why not.
is that what you
The
give it?
emotions.
It's just
Yeah,
Kira.
it's high up, man.
Everything involving Kira is a 10. Spoilers.
Does that mean Harvest is a 10 if he appears at the end?
No. God, no, why did I say that?
No,
Anyway,
Kurt.
next fight, which technically, like in the manga, the order of these is different. So it goes Kira Quiet Life, then Cinderella, then Sheer Heart Attack in the manga.
Oops.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Um,
have to have some order, so.
but we're doing the anime order here. So, Sheer Heart Attack.
Oh boy.
Honestly, I was kind of surprised that the fight right after, in the anime at least, is just them actually finding Kira. It's
That
pretty
was quick.
surprising. And also pretty surprising to find that he has a second ability.
It's almost cheating.
Yeah. But this fight is just also really good. Like JoJo versus Sheer Heart Attack is just really interesting because it's like the most powerful stand versus a stand that can't be destroyed basically.
Oh yeah, it's pretty scary, honestly.
So what's that saying? It's a unstoppable force versus an immovable object. That's what it is basically.
Way.
And obviously
Finally.
JoJo gets blown up. Oh no. And then
Oops.
Koichi figures out that he follows heat, and then using his stand echoes really interesting. Like, well done. Just gonna clap a little bit. I really
He
like
deserves
that.
it.
It's like a carrot on a stick, but with heat. I really like that. And
Oh
then
yes.
obviously the fight on the
Good working
street,
out.
Koichi versus
My best
Kira
bit.
on the street, which is yeah, that's also really good. Obviously, Koichi getting his face planted into the ground.
It turns to a donut, I think, at some point.
Why does he get donuts then?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god! All right.
I'm pretty sure anyway. From what I've read again.
God. Okay. And then Josuke and Okayasu appear, and it does play on the thing of Josuke doesn't know that Kira is the bad guy at first, which I think is really interesting.
Ah, It's
and
chill.
it's
He's just a
consistent.
guy.
It is consistent with the story so far, so that's nice. And then obviously the chase with Kira going to uh, the Cinderella place, can't remember what it's called. Whilst he's being followed by his own hand. And some people have like, well, why didn't he just pull Kira back to his hand? But then sheer heart attack would go off again. So
Yeah, that's not how it works, guys.
yeah, I'm pretty sure anyway. But obviously, like this is already the what would be the word? The payoff for the Cinderella arc is that Kira disappears. He kills
Ugh.
Cinderella, whatever her
Rip.
stand user's name is, and changes his face, which is one of the best like mid-season twists ever to carry on the story.
So that is smart.
It is very smart. I don't
I
know.
wonder how he knew about her though.
Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah. How did he
I
know
mean, I
about her?
guess I don't know. A salon where you can change your face would probably cause quite a buzz around the town.
Yeah. Maybe there probably is an actual explanation for it, but yeah. I wonder also if he planned that beforehand, then he was going to do that. He must
Mm.
have.
He's the
But
type of guy to do that anyway. So,
yeah, but it seems like some of the time, like he's just making the fights up as he goes along. Some of the time,
oops. Nah, no, it's this.
it's all
That's
planned.
that's what he wants you to think.
Yeah, yeah.
Galaxy brain time.
But yeah, sheer heart attack. This is probably the only time this is gonna happen. But 10 out of 10 back to back for me. Sheer heart attack's also a 10.
Oh boy, I would say it's up there. Yeah, definitely. For me,
Yeah.
my favorite bit though is when Echo Zack 3 appears,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
I
like a
forgot
roller
about
coaster of
that.
emotions.
That yeah, I
Then
completely forgot about
so, oh no, Act 2 is dead. Wait, Act 3 is here. He's cool. He's so
that.
fast, and he's punching and everything. And oh no, it didn't work. He's useless. And then actually, wait, he did actually fight and stop sheer heart attack. Woohoo! It's crazy. Up and down, up and down.
Yeah. So would you give it a 10 then?
Just for Act 3, yes, because it's like SHID. This guy won't go down. And
Oh,
then, of course, also, I think I like when Jotaro beats up Kira as well. So
yeah,
it's like
that's great.
his last stand, I guess.
That is great,
He get it.
yeah.
But yeah, very nice. Lots of cool moments in this one.
Definitely. Right, well, we just took a day break, but now we're back. Because I felt not great yesterday, and I still don't feel great today. Anyway, right,
Oh,
next fight. Atom Heartfather.
oh boy.
I just want to say that I remember when my brother was watching JoJo, like he got to halfway through this episode and saw what it was called, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's another Pink Floyd reference!" Look, and he showed me on Spotify. I was like, "Look at this! It's I'm Heart Mother." I don't know.
But this time, it's the
It's the
father.
father. Yeah, I just thought it was
We have
funny because
found the absentee.
he's a big Pink Floyd fan, so he probably had so many references to look at. 'Cause I know there's a lot of Pink Floyd references in Part 4. Anyway,
Very
this
popular.
fight, this is it's not really well. It is a fight, but it's more like set up for the second half of
It's just
of Heart.
shenanigans.
It's just to find a way to create more stand users, basically.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it's
Just an
for.
excuse to drag it out. Oh,
Don't know if it's an excuse,
that's what a
but yeah.
cynic would say.
But I still think it's an interesting fight because Kira's dad is obviously that's a really interesting concept that he's in this photo. And he's there's a lot of ghosts in part 4. There's a lot more supernatural elements, so he's in this photo. That's cool. Obviously, more insight on Kira as a person is cool. And the actual fight, I really like because when they close the picture, it then like actually hurt them, and and then you could go through the thing. I thought it was just a really interesting concept. Um,
Very interesting idea, yeah.
yeah.
I
Um,
guess the picture's part of his body.
oh wait, they didn't fold it. They ripped it, which then caused them to be hurt. But then they won it by folding it. Yeah, whatever. Just making sure I'm right.
Woohoo.
Like the fight doesn't really have a proper conclusion until the final fight because obviously they don't beat Kira's dad because he has to get away with the stand arrow. But it's still
A
and
pesky man.
so it's an interesting way Jotaro wins, but it's pretty funny that it's kind of a meme, isn't it, where he just flipping slaps it together.
Just folds it in half.
Yeah. And then obviously Okiasu has to be Okiasu and lets him out.
Man, he's the weakest link.
Oh well. But yeah, I enjoy the concepts of this fight more than the well, I'll still say it's executed pretty well. So I'll say it's a good 7 out of 10.
I'd say so. Yeah, nothing, no harm done there.
Cool. So then on to um, the first stand user that Kira's dad creates, which is Boy to Man,
Woohoo!
which is
I
just
like
rock,
this
paper,
one.
scissors. It's definitely very interesting, but honestly, it's pretty forgettable as well. I know we said that Surface was probably the most forgettable fight, and it still is, but I think this is probably the second most forgettable fight in part four.
I'd say yeah, it's not the most memorable, that's for sure. Well, I mean, I do like the various twists and turns that come with this high stakes game of rock paper scissors where they're flying in the air trying
Yeah,
to bluff each other.
it's definitely. And Araki does know how to make some of the most mundane things very intense, as we'll see in part 8 with the Beetle battle. But yeah, rock, paper, scissors, obviously, everyone knows how it works, and it's still gripping, I would say.
Absolutely. In fact, I guess because it's just so simple, the fact that these mind games are on such a high level is what makes it so good for me. I think
Yeah.
I
Um,
say so good, but it's not on God level really.
no. So overall, I say this is still like I wouldn't say this is anything amazing, and it's kind of forgettable, but it's still when you watch it, it's not there's nothing wrong with it, and it still has a lot of strength. So I'd give this one a 7 as well.
Oh yes,
Do you agree?
yeah. I say that's not a bad
All right.
score.
Yeah.
Fair
Not.
evaluation there.
Yeah. All right. And next. This is the one that everyone's like, what the most not what confusing, but leaves uh the most questions, and that is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh man, I still don't know the answers to this day.
Which is kind of it's not really a fight, it's more shenanigans. But the actual fight is Josuke versus Rohan again. But
More
yeah,
mind games.
more mind game. It's definitely very interesting because it brings up the idea of do aliens exist in JoJo, or is it this guy who thinks he's an alien but actually isn't? Um,
Every time you think you know the answer, they throw in something else that makes you
hmm
doubt it. I think what's his name, Mickey Taka. It's
Yeah,
a very entertaining character
he
though,
is a definitely very entertaining character.
with his odd mannerisms.
Yeah, I like as soon as you meet him, he starts eating the flipping like tissue packet or whatever. And that's a great
Yeah,
introduction. And then
it's
obviously,
always weird when I think he gets shot with the arrow, doesn't it? Doesn't
oh
he? But
yeah, and
he
it just
doesn't get.
bounces off.
Yeah,
So it's
he's
like,
too powerful.
did he already have a stand, or did that give
Hmm.
him a stand? He just had thick skin, or was he actually an alien? And he just can't get pierced by the stand arrow because obviously in part
Yeah.
five we find out that the stand arrow is from out of space. So maybe
Ooh,
all aliens have stands, and
it's his kind.
yeah, maybe it's Mikitaka's kind that brought the stand arrows to Earth. You never know.
Mm. Or I could be saying that maybe he wasn't worthy of upgrading his ability, perhaps because you know how
Yeah, yeah,
Kira gets stabbed a second time.
yeah,
But I guess that's when he hit rock bottom, right? I
yeah.
guess the alien wasn't quite at that stage yet.
No, I obviously also really like when he turns into a dice and they decide to con Rohan. I think that's very funny. It's a, it's kind of weird that it like the episode. I know this is for the anime, but the episode ends and then like the rest of the fight's only half of the next episode. Like I think that's kind of weird. That's probably the only time
Ah,
ever in JoJo's that's happened where like a fight ends halfway through an episode. The rest of the episode's the next fight. The rest half the episode. You know what I mean?
it is a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why they did that.
Time constraints, I think, because they had to do the whole Thursday thing on all at the same time as well.
Ah, good point.
But yeah, no, I really like obviously Rohan chopping off one of his fingers and then his house burning down, and he's like, "I don't care." That's great.
He just hates Josuke too much.
Yeah, Rohan's just the best character, and their rivalry is great. So I really like this. But like, there's not a lot of complexity to the fight, so I'd say it's above average good, so an 8.
I say, yeah, it makes you feel stressed, I guess, on Josuke's behalf during
Yeah.
the second half as things start to ramp up and
Mhm.
it just becomes so absurd. But yeah, I'd say 8 is a pretty fair score for that.
Yeah.
Very funny stuff.
I'm now just realizing I don't think we've given anything in part four below a 6, but I think that's fair because nearly every fight in part four is just good. So.
Ah, yeah. There are barely any weak links, I'd say.
Anyway, next is actually one of my actual personal favorites, Highway Star or Highway Go Go, which
Well,
I think is
hey,
the funny. I like Highway Go Go. I think that's a good localized name.
it's not so bad. Doesn't make me hate it.
Hmm. I don't know why I. Well, no, I do know why I like this fight so much. It's because it's complex. It isn't just one simple fight. There's lots of different elements to it. Like at first, you have the whole Rohan scene, the guy in the room, and he's like, "What is this?" And he goes in there, and you have the obvious meme of, do you want to say it,
I refuse.
Nathan?
Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, you refuse to say the meme.
Uh,
Yeah, I
I've
do.
never played.
And then you have it. Then you have Josuke on the bike running away, which is again one of the most creative ways of using his standby. He uses his crazy diamond so many times creatively in this fight. It's amazing.
Oh
Obviously
yeah, that was
destroying the
awesome.
bike to go over to like make sure he can not get hit by the truck, and when he's in the on the docks area, there's a lots of interesting ways he uses crazy diamond. And as I said before, I love Crazy Diamond. I love its power. I love how creative it can be used. And then you have the hospital scene. So there's already been like three parts to this fight. It's like a whole story arc. And the hospital scene's also really good because obviously you have Koichi doing his famous line.
Do you want to say that?
Nice.
Okay, let's try and do the accent. It's like, okay, master, let's kill the hoe. Beach. Epic
Yeah,
kill
that's
move.
great. Ah, and then the
If
whole
you'd used that on Kira, then he would have
he would
been
die instantly.
immediately defeated.
Yeah. And then the whole encounter in the hospital room, like it's kind of already the end of the fight and they've won, but it's still an interesting dynamic where he's like, he wouldn't attack a injured person, so he's like, no, I wouldn't. So he just heals him and then just attacks him afterwards. That's great.
Epic.
So yeah, I really really like this fight, so I'd give it a 9.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's got the high stakes action that you want. It's got the sort of begrudging cooperation
Uh
with
huh.
Rohan. You know, the fact that they hate each other. And I think there's one point where Rohan says, I think he tries to use reverse psychology on Josuke. He says, if he's Josuke's always going to do the opposite of what I tell him. So he
Yeah.
says, "Don't come in the room. I'm being attacked." No, no, he says, "Come in the room,"
Yeah.
and then Josuke actually comes into the room.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
at the end as well, when the stand user is saying, "I can smell that one of you is really angry. So there's blood in the air. I wonder who it is." And Josuke is right there behind him, going, "It's me."
mhm.
And then he didn't last much longer after that. Well, I like that he becomes an ally later on, sort of.
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
And it does happen to a lot of characters in this part, which is why I like, they pop up again afterwards,
Yeah, it definitely does make
which is
it.
nice.
Obviously,
It
this
sells
isn't.
the setting that everyone kind of it's a small town where everyone knows each other.
Yeah, yeah, which is a positive of the part as a whole, but you can't really apply to the fights. But obviously, that's one of the reasons why I love part 4 so
It's like
much.
how the Locke character shows up during the Dice game
Oh
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
alien,
Mhm.
and he uses his stand to sort of escalate the stakes a bit more. That's what I like as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So next is this is kind of a weird fight. A stray cat.
Woohoo! I love cats.
Mhm.
They can be evil though.
Yeah. Cats are great. It's definitely this is definitely one of the most bizarre fights. Um, One of the main reasons is obviously because there is no protagonist in sight. It's just a pure Kira versus random stand user.
Yeah, it was weird to see things from the sort of villain's perspective, have them just be in a fight.
Mm-hmm. And then you have a cat which dies, but then turns into a plant, which then blows air bubbles, and it's like, what? How did you come up with this?
Well, LSD probably. I think that's how it comes with most things.
The stray cat's power is really interesting, with the whole air bubbles and the air bubble going up into his vein, and it's gonna kill him if it goes up. So then he blows it up. He blows up one of his vein. I'm assuming it's a vein, not an artery. If it was an artery, he'd be dead.
Oh yeah,
Um,
nothing too important.
hmm But I don't really know how the fight ends. This just feels like it's a cool fight, but it's just set up for the final fight, really.
Yeah, yeah.
So it isn't really much on its own. But we are rating these on their own, sadly. So on their own, this fight's a 7 for me.
Ah, yeah, it's on the level for me too. Yeah, I give it a 7 also because I mean it's crazy how air can be so scary,
Yeah.
and it's nice to see a character in a fight that isn't just Josuke or anyone else like that.
hmm
So I say it's pretty entertaining in that regard.
Next is very interesting stand. There's so many flipping wacky ideas in part four. This is why part four is so much better than part three, by the way. Is because all the stands in
Absolutely.
part four are just way more interesting, and this is definitely one of them. It's Superfly,
Woohoo!
which should have been called Tower of Grey, but you know.
Oops, that's not how naming works
hmm
in this universe, I suppose.
This is part of the in the anime the Thursday night, the what happened on Thursday set of episodes. But in the manga, these fights are split up. So I know I said I'm going by the anime, but these are technically separate fights. So we're splitting all the fights up as separate things.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So Superfly. I really like Superfly because again, it's very quirky and
It's a
bizarre.
great idea, yeah.
It's a very interesting idea of this massive like electric pylon, and if you go in it, then you can't leave because you turn to metal or something. I don't know. And
You
also,
become the Terminator.
yeah, and also what you deal to it then gets reflected, which is basically just this is golden experience if it actually used its powers.
And also was a pylon,
Yeah,
which I think would have significantly nerfed Jono.
yeah. If golden experience was a pylon.
Imagine, imagine a pylon. What was pylon requiem? You try and attack it, but you can never reach it.
hmm God, yeah. If Superfly had a Requiem version, it's just like it gives stuff life. Like they just swap
Uh-oh.
powers.
I guess it would just become a transformer that can walk around.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like this fight because again, there's a lot of back and forth to it. It's not just the enemy uses their ability and the protagonist figure out how to beat it. It feels like it's a proper fight where they have to think of what to do, and you know the whole. I really like the again the
Oh yeah,
reflecting
they're all
bit.
ganging up on him.
Yeah, the whole reflection aspect with the bolts. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can't exactly remember. It's been a while, and then I'm pretty sure Mickey Taka comes and helps out.
Oh yes. They're all kind of exploiting the tower, I guess, to win
Yeah.
the fight.
So yeah, I very much like this fight, so I'd give it an 8.
Hmm. I would agree with that, yeah. I've been agreeing too much recently.
Then
I
maybe
should try
stop
and find something
agreeing.
more
Stop
controversial.
agreeing then. Find something. Yeah, find something controversial. The next fight is one which I don't think many people know the name of, but it's Enigma. Do you know which one the Enigma fight is, Nathan?
Oh yes, it's the one where the gun appears from behind that piece of paper, right?
Yeah, it's the paper
I
fight.
mean, they have that weirdo guy who licks the bun in a weird way.
I know I wrote down a rating for this, but I haven't. I'm gonna redecide what I would rate it by what I would talk about now because I can't really remember it. This is definitely another. It's not really a forgettable fight because there's a lot of funny moments in it, but you don't really recall it. You know what I mean? Maybe because it's in the whole Thursday arc and Superfly and Cheap Trick will just stand out a lot more. But yeah, so there's the whole thing of Koichi goes missing, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think they get word that he's been killed, maybe
yeah.
something like that.
And then Josuke goes and there's the whole origami paper thing, and he opens the paper and there's a gun in it, and that's funny. And then they bring the Highway Go Go guy. I'm just gonna call it Highway Go Go.
Hooray!
Which is cool. I like bringing back previous characters, and he sniffs out maybe the villain. I can't remember. But I
I
like
think
how
he finds maybe Koichi scent, maybe
yeah,
or something like that.
I like how he's the one that wins the fight.
A
You
strange
know,
twist.
it's not normal that a past villain comes back for one episode and then wins the fight, and it doesn't feel cheap because he really feels like he doesn't just insta win. He has to think about how he's doing. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the shredder, right? I can't exactly
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not too sure myself either. Yeah.
yeah.
Oops.
So this definitely feels like probably the most forgettable fight out of the three on the Thursday arc. So I'd maybe lower it from what I wrote down in this document. I'd probably give it a 7.
Hmm. I think I'd stick with an 8 really,
Yeah.
because I still quite like this one.
No,
I think
I
it's an
can't
interesting
decide.
idea that he can operate based off your tells. You know, your sort of the nervous tics you have
Oh
when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
afraid.
I forgot about that.
I think it's got this sort of airy air around it. You know,
No, that's fair. Actually, you
if
talk about
someone
that.
exploits your worst fears. There's
Yeah.
always that sort of
I
that creepy atmosphere to it.
yeah, yeah. You know what? Fine, I'll give it an 8 then. More
Ooh,
work for my editing, but oh well.
it'll be
Uh,
fine.
And then the final fight before the final fight. What's that called?
Whoa,
What's that?
penultimate.
The penultimate fight. Is Cheap Trick. Well, technically, this whole arc's the penultimate,
Hmm.
whatever. Cheap Trick.
Isn't Bites
Um,
the Dust penultimate? I
I
guess stuff
guess.
leads into the final fight.
Yeah, I
But,
guess.
hmm.
It's the penultimate before the final showdown. I guess.
Penultimate.
I think a lot of people clown on this fight for some reason. Maybe because
I mean, it's a bit silly.
it's a bit silly, but I think it's. I know. I really like it.
It's got the tension.
Yeah,
It's got the annoying villain.
it
It's got
is.
Rohan.
It definitely is very funny. I do. I guess people are annoyed that Koichi's like doesn't believe Rohan at first, which I know a lot of the time people
Mm.
like in JoJo's it's like, no, this can't be the work of an enemy stand. Like stands don't
Yeah,
exist.
yeah.
It kind of
It's
feels
pretty
like.
out of character, I'd say.
Yeah. But he does come back, and I do like how they use the Ghost Street again to win the fight, which basically is
Oh,
there
yes.
to. I think this fight's just there to remind you that the Ghost Street exists and can be used,
Just a
because
reminder.
obviously it is used in the final fight to kill Kira, or not to, he's already dead by that point, to to defeat
Make sure
Kira
he's
once and
dead.
for all. Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of that to remind you that the street exists, but it's still an interesting way of using the street because it is logically the only way that you could probably win that fight because any other way Rohan's gonna die.
Oh man, that would not be good.
hmm I'm trying to think if there's any other stand that could actually stop Cheap Trick. Maybe Golden Spirit's Requiem. Golden Spirit's Requiem could do anything.
Or I'm not even sure if Tuskat 4 could beat him. Just make him spin a lot.
No, because I'm pretty sure if you attack the stand, probably Rohan will be affected as well.
Well, then Rohan can spin.
Yeah, which kind of defeats the purpose. Anyway, whatever.
Uh,
Yeah, so this is definitely an interesting fight. It's obviously very quirky and bizarre and more funny than intense. But I still think it's good, so I would say a 7 for this.
yeah. I'd agree with that.
Stop
Nothing
agreeing,
too bad.
Nathan. You should stop agreeing. Give a different score.
Oh,
No,
okay. I agree that I should stop agreeing.
On to the
Oh
final
man,
stretch. Not the final stretch, the final encounters, you could say.
final
First
frontier.
off, yeah, with Bites the Dust.
Wahoo! I like this one.
Yeah, this is everyone loves, and I kind of said a lot the time last in part three, but everyone loves this. Like, come on, who doesn't
It's perfect.
love Bites the Dust? It is one of the most like, what the hell is happening? Oh my god, Rohan just exploded. Oh my god, everyone else exploded. What is happening?
A roller coaster.
It is, yeah. It is wild. I really like how it doesn't just focus on the main cast. It's got this kid. Some people don't like that, but I definitely think it adds more tension.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there really much to say about this? Have you got anything like specific?
Well, I say it's interesting how what's his name, Hayato works in the story.
Mm-hmm.
How he's sort of used by Kira, but then he sort of grows out of that,
Yeah.
and he defies fate. I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And I also think that the way that this arc concludes is very good as well. You're like, how is Hayato going to get out of this? And you realize that he baits Kira into saying who he is whilst Josuke is there. I think that's a very good
Smartness.
conclusion to this fight because then it leads straight on into the final fight, which is a good segue. But we still have to rate this fight. But you know, it's a 10. Like, come on,
And
it's a 10.
no arguments.
Yeah,
It's always fun when this stand is presented as being invincible, and
yeah,
then you have to really think out of the box to
definitely.
defeat it.
Yeah, and also, time travel's always cool. Especially time loops are cool as well. Um,
Woohoo!
it's
Imagine
sort
Groundhog Day, but everyone is brutally killed at the end.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the section from Steins Gate. I know you haven't watched Steins Gate,
Oh,
but it's similar to that slightly.
I mean, yeah, time loops have been done a lot in
hmm
media, but I'd say this one
Yeah.
stands out for me so far
Mm-hmm. Oh, you need to watch
because I
Steins Gate
could
then,
find
don't you?
one that maybe is the best.
You need to watch Steins Gate then, don't you, Nathan?
No,
Why not?
I'd rather just play 12 minutes instead.
Yeah, I forgot on the train I was going to tell you about the ending of that, but I never got around to it. Do you know about the ending of that now?
Yeah, it's very strange, I will
Yeah,
say.
definitely.
I'm not quite sure how to feel about it.
Hmm. Anyway,
Ay, ay, ay.
God, moving on, we've got the final fight, which is basically just Killer Queen, but I just called it. I guess I could have just called it Killer Queen, 'cause there's no other thing on there I called Killer Queen. So well, it's Killer Queen, but slash
Yeah,
Crazy Diamond is Unbreakable.
Crazy D.
The Killer Queen fight, or known as Crazy Diamond is Unbreakable. Again, this is amazing. It's just one of the best fights in JoJo's, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's up there
I
with
know
the
some
best.
people think that this fight doesn't feel as impactful or like grandiose as Part Three's ending, but I think I probably prefer this fight mainly because I just prefer Part Four
Mm,
in general. But again, like I said, I really like when Stan's power is used creatively and in very smart and interesting ways. And in part three, it was definitely to some extent, but this Josuke goes above and beyond in this fight.
absolutely. He's
Yeah,
really putting his brain to work using 100%
yeah,
of
he
that brain
definitely
power.
definitely uses 100%. Like just the thing that blew my mind was the whole piece of blood and the shard of glass. Like what the actual hell? That is so smart.
Yeah, he was pretty out of his depth there, I think. He
Hmm.
challenged the wrong person.
And also Josuke pretending to be Kira's dad, because Kira's dad is in Hayato's pocket. That's really interesting and definitely a great conclusion to that character. And it's I know I said that I didn't like Avdol's fake out death in the last fight, but it feels less
That's dumb.
as dumb. Yeah, I guess that I couldn't think of the right word, but I guess yeah. If it felt like it made sense in this with Okuyasu's supposed death because he like he doesn't really die, he's just on the brink of dying, and he finds the courage to come back, which is great.
Yeah.
The reveal of him being back is amazing, and
Plus, they
then
don't kill him off again, so
yeah,
that's always good.
and then obviously you have the everyone coming together on the final street, and the whole basically Jotaro is the one that corners Kira using time stop, but also with
Mhm.
the help of Koichi and breaking his fingers. That's great. And then, I feel like the only way this part could have ended is with him dying some by some other means. Like, if it wouldn't have really felt right if Josuke had killed Kira. You know what I mean?
Mm. I guess they
Um,
all had to do it together
yeah.
at the same
But
time.
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, I think it makes sense that the ambulance is the one that killed Kira. If
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this part could have either have ended with them capturing Kira and put him in jail, but then he probably would have been able to get out because he's got a stand ability, or him dying by some other means. And I think
Mm.
him dying and then going to the street and then getting um, attacked by all the hands is a very it's probably the best conclusion you can have.
Yeah, the fact that he gets to meet I think it's his first victim, right? The ghost girl.
Yeah,
And then she gets to see him die. That's very good.
yeah. So that's definitely another great payoff in this part. It just felt very thematically. I
We've
can't think
come
of that.
full
It's
circle.
come from Circle, yeah. There are some minor criticisms of this fight. There's obviously the uh, did I just hear Josuke? No, it was the rain. Excuse, but it's JoJo's, so whatever. And
Ay,
also
ay, ay.
the after Hayato gets exploded, Josuke brings him back, but that was only in the anime where he got fully exploded. In the manga, he didn't, so that doesn't really count as a criticism.
I guess criticism of the anime more than anything else.
Yeah, I know the anime does have
Dumb.
a little, quite a few scenes where they change the manga slightly, which then adds continuity errors, like in part five where at the end Diavolo kills one of Giorno's scorpions and doesn't get affected.
Man,
That didn't happen in
silly
the
stuff.
manga either.
And I'll tell you what, also, at the beginning of part five, when they have Dio's photo
Mm-hmm.
in Jono's album or in wallet, for some reason in the anime, it's the photograph that I think Joseph got
Yeah,
with Hermit Purple. And you think, how could Jono have got that?
yeah. But yeah, that's definitely interesting thing that the anime does like to do.
Fun facts.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, as I've already, you could probably guess what I would give this because I already said I prefer this to the world, and you know if you watched the
Wow.
last video, you knew what I gave the world. So this is another 10 out of 10 from me.
It's epic. It's just as perfect as Spice the Dust.
Mm-hmm. And I know I said that before that Kieran Still Live a Quiet Life and Sheer Heart Attack would be the only 10 out of 10s back to back, but they've done it again. Kira's done it again.
What? He's outdone himself.
He has two. He has all fights he's in are 10 out of 10. That's how great of an antagonist he is.
Come up here and get your
Does
award.
any other antagonist do that? I don't know. I haven't
I guess
checked.
not.
I've not checked my list, but I
Maybe
don't
they don't
think
appear
so.
in as many fights.
No other. Definitely part five doesn't.
But I would say Dio versus Jonathan from part one is a 10 out of 10.
I don't know about that. But they're both Dio versus
Crazy
Jonathan
fight.
fights in part one are definitely good. I will say they're definitely both the best fights in part one. But I don't think I'd give them a 10. I guess I could put up all the ratings on the screen now. I didn't do it for last video, but I might do it for this video. There's 4 10s this time compared to only 1 10 from part three. You know, part four is
That's an improvement.
my favorite part, I would say. So,
Yes,
this is kind
me
of this
too.
this list is slightly biased. There's no lower scores than 6 on this list, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's our opinion.
It'll be
Um,
fine. You can say that it's your favorite because it's so highly rated.
yeah, yeah. This is again, this is not an objective list. These are all based on our opinions of what means to us, what's good to us in a fight. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed sitting through like probably another hour long video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah,
Did you know only 60% of people who watch my videos are subscribed?
that is probably like 2% of people who watch my videos are subscribed. Honestly.
Oops. But it's free,
Hmm.
and you can always unsubscribe at any time. How is
Yeah.
that possible?
So
Man,
yeah, how do you end videos? Do a
usually stay,
bye.
go watch my other videos in the description.
They're not going to be in the description.
Buy
Okay, bye.
merch,
Okay, bye.
Patreon.
Bye.
See
I
ya.
don't have a Patreon. Stop lying. Bye.